Welcome everybody to another Voice of Nick show. We're doing more of the Posthomerica artwork. We're currently making the audiobook cover, and I spoke to the ACX team on the phone today, which is the service that you use from Audible where you make audiobooks behind the scenes. And in order to submit your audiobook, I found out that they actually won't accept it if it doesn't have the translator's name on the cover, so we'll add that. Honestly, it's probably for the best. I don't know why I wanted to get rid of the translator name. Maybe we'll put it right under here. And for the rest, we just want to kind of like tighten this up. I thought I had done like something to the edges here. It looks like it didn't take. I could have sworn I spent a bunch of time last night making those edges not look digital, but I don't know. So, yeah, let's try and get, if we're going to add stuff in here, we might as well add all the information. So, we got that, and then we'll try and get the narrator's name as well, which is me, I guess. I don't really know how I'm going to do that one. What if we did it, this is an interesting thought. Okay, hold on. If we Oh, wow, that's interesting. Why does that feature exist? I don't understand it. Also, I don't get why it makes the keyboard so small. There's no way to get rid of the keyboard either. There's not like a done button, except for this done button, which means you're done with the whole thing. Not the smoothest implementation here. Why does this not work? Oh, you know what? It's because this goes over everything. So... yeah, I think that's kind of cool. It's a natural spot to split. You can easily get a visually very logical read on the two of these things being separate items because they're split by the color scheme. And luckily they're kind of like similar lengths, so they sort of fit side by side. Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. Let's take a quick look at some stuff. I don't really like the usage of two different verb forms where it's like translation by and then narrated by. But I also don't like calling it Oh, wait. No, that's correct. What was I thinking? Wait. Translator. Oh, yeah. It would say translated by. Yeah. Because it would either say translation by and narration by, or translated by and narrated by. Yeah, I don't know why this keyboard is like this. So that's pretty slick. Let's get a thing to level this out, make sure that it's the correct size. Welcome, Plot King, to the show. We're making our audiobook cover now. Welcome in. Are you excited, Plot King, to get this project out the door? I'm pretty excited. You know what? That's better anyway. You know, I think that's good. And it's like not overly visible on the cover, but it's there. And it's also kind of like nicely designed. And I think that's what matters. That's what counts. What counts is that it's on there. So they won't accept the audiobook if it doesn't have that, which I'm glad I found out now, you know. So now we got this, and we want to take, I think, here. Welcome, Azure. It says, Oppa. I don't know what it says. Welcome into the show. So what I want to do is basically make a thing out of this. And let's create some guides. This is a graphic designer's trick. When you don't have the ability to actually measure stuff on the app or use like precise tools, just create a block that matches the distance of something you're trying to measure and put it up against the other object. Because they're saying, I love the mentions of bro and the introduction. Oh, thanks, Azir. Yeah, he really was the kind of like reason I did this whole project, because I wouldn't have ever thought, like, oh yeah, I could do that. Like, it's not something, as you know, it's like not really something that I've ever done before, of like publishing a book and doing a narration of like an ancient Greek story. I always thought that it was like, you had to be like certified to do it or something, like, oh yeah, I can't just do that. But he was like, yeah, like, why don't you just do it? You could do it. My mom said that she cried when she read the dedication page at the beginning. So let's maybe add a little background to this so you can actually see what we're doing. I can't believe how fast we solved that problem of having to have the narrator and translator names on there. Hey, welcome Hyatt Riot. Good to see you. What are you up to, Hyatt Riot? How you doing? Oh wait, so now I gotta keep track of which one this is. This is this one, and this is this one. Let's maybe put these in their own group. So all of these will be separate. As you were saying, I'm going to send a copy to my friend. She's into ancient Greece right now. Oh, cool. Yeah, I hope she likes it. And thanks for the support, Azura, for championing the story. It's really something I'm passionate about. As I mentioned in the introduction, it's like surprising to me how the Iliad is so popular, which that part's not surprising because it's one of the greatest stories ever written. But it's surprising to me that this story is not popular. Like, I think it's so great, and it's a lot of the subject matter is stuff that's not covered in the Iliad. So it's like a sort of natural continuation of that. And yeah, I was like very excited when I found it and realized how great it was. Because yeah, it's like, it's a total missing link to what the Iliad doesn't tell. Not that the stories themselves, of like the downfall of Troy and the Trojan women and Ajax, and there's a lot of plays and stuff that tell pieces of the story, but there's nothing that tells the whole thing like this. Uh-oh, I think I moved that. Okay, good. Oh, I'm screwing up now. Oh, you know what? I'm not supposed to line that up with the letters. I'm supposed to line that up with the bottom of the thing. Okay, so let's do this. Good. Tiny Wen saying, came from your Twitch playbook on Spotify. It's helped me immensely and I wanted to show some support in return. Wow, cool. Thanks for listening. I'm glad you liked the podcast. We're working on, it's pretty exciting actually, for the last year or so, on and off, and then for the last 2022, more concentrated, we've been working on publishing a book that and also making an audiobook of it, and we're finally in the last stages of doing that, and I'm very excited about that. The book itself is already out, and then the audiobook is what we're doing right now. We're making the cover art for it. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped. Welcome in. Okay, let's do this. It's saying, my thing turned off. I got a new phone and lost my Discord. That's what happened to me. That is exactly what happened to me. Because if this happened to you, when you have the two-factor turned on, if you get a new phone and you don't transfer your authenticator app, you literally just can't get into Discord anymore. It's like you don't even do anything wrong. I would have never thought to do that. It's like, oh, what am I going to buy a new phone and then make sure I check in with the Google Authenticator app and that seems like a real oversight on their part. It literally says in the Q&A or a FAQ section, don't, if you lose this, you have to make a new Discord. It doesn't even have any options. It's so annoying. So yeah, anyway, what I ended up having to do, Hyatt, is I just made a entirely new Discord account, and unfortunately I lost all my info and private messages and stuff that was on my original account, but at least I can, I recreated the stuff I wanted from it, and at least now I can get back on the Discord. But yeah, if you're going through that, I unfortunately couldn't figure out a way to get around it, so I just had to make a new one. Oh no, oh my god, I hate this thing. It's I'll line it up and then it moves the thing and then the undo doesn't actually go back to where you want. As you're saying, Nick, and you need a spanking for losing the Discord and being AWOL. Yeah, well, Discord needs one. What it is extra annoying too is that in terms of two-factor authentication, I already use 1Password, which is that app where all your passwords are 25 characters long, and it's just one account that you log into, and it creates all these impossible to guess passwords for you. So I didn't necessarily need two-factor authentication because my passwords are already really secure, and yet I still ended up getting kicked out because I forgot about the two-factor thing. So now what I realize is that 1Password actually has a two-factor authenticator built in, so I don't have to use Google Authenticator, which is what got me screwed last time. Okay, so we can get rid of this now. Actually, before we do, let's save this. Because they're saying I have my backup codes as a JPEG and have that on my laptop. I lost access 4 times. All right, so it's not just us then. It seems like a pretty common thing. I guess I should keep that backup codes thing. Yeah. The backup codes thing, to me, it seems like a security risk in itself because it's what if somebody gets a picture of that? That seems in my opinion, I always thought those things where they give you the backup codes, it's well, probably I shouldn't keep this, right? And I never do, and then it always bites me, so maybe I should keep it. Where is this asset here? Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Okay, yeah. So I guess we would want to do the same thing as this, where we put the border on it. Maybe not. I actually kind of don't like it being so thick on every side. Maybe it should be match more like what the Quintus borders are, where it's like very close, rather than the Posthomerica borders. Okay, well, first order of business, I want to actually just take this, I want to copy these and make them their own elements. Oh, I had your Twitch also. Yeah, wow. How did you manage that one? Does Twitch have like a different support system or something like that allows you to recover your account easier? Because yeah, my Twitch, I never enabled the 2-factor on it for that reason. There's actually an interesting thing now that well, actually, my Twitch did have 2-factor, but it was attached to my phone, so it would just send me a text. And now that I'm going out of the country, I was like, well, I don't think I'll be able to log into Twitch if it's sending me a text, because I'm not necessarily going to have the same phone number over there. I might buy a SIM card, and then I won't be able to get a text that confirms my account. And I found out that you can, if you add authenticator, then you can do either the phone number or the authenticator. So maybe that's what, actually I might have answered my own question right there. That might have been what you did. But yeah, I was happy about that, because I was like thinking like, yeah, this is definitely not going to work if I'm out of the country. Like, I'm not going to have the ability to get this text message. Okay, so first of all, this does not seem, I don't know what I did wrong, but this does not seem correct at all. Okay, yeah, I totally matched the the wrong shapes together. You can see that at 325%, this asset looks actually a little bit blurry. And that's some unfortunate thing that happens with Photoshop when you're copying and pasting elements, even if you don't change the size. Hi, it's saying Twitch has a different company that works with a lot of new phones and can have 2 SIM cards. Oh, wow. I've seen that they use that thing called like, yeah, I forget what it's called. I don't use that one though. But yeah, I'm glad that it works better. Cause yeah, that was kind of like distressing on Discord. I literally, like, I was so busy at the time that it happened. That was when I was like traveling every single weekend for 6 months straight. You guys remember that? When I was doing all those really short streams just to get done before I left to another business trip. And, I was so busy, I was just like, I can't deal with this right now. I'm just not going to use Discord for a while. Okay, this seems... It seems correct. The only thing is includes is now not centered compared to artwork. So let's fix that. That seems right. Thank you to Raintier for the follow. And welcome to the Meatball Marauders. We are making some artwork for our book cover, or audiobook cover, at the moment. Maybe this wants to be a little bit more to the right. Includes. That's right. It doesn't need to be 100% exact because it's like, we don't want it to feel overly digital. We're going to kind of like distress the letters and everything so it looks a little bit more like it fits within this like Greek pottery aesthetic. So there is an element in that of like inaccuracy, like intentional inaccuracy. But we don't want it to be blatant. Okay, that's pretty much exactly right. Maybe it's like 1 pixel off, but that's fine. Okay. So what I would like to do, let's group this and duplicate it. What I would like to do is turn this off, make these smaller. I think the borders left and right are correct, but not the ones up and down. So I would like to make this change, and I think the best way to do that is we change one. So maybe let's try it like this. It should probably be a little bit more space than Quintus has, because Quintus is stuffed at the bottom of an existing frame thing, but this one is on its own, so it sort of like should be a little bit larger of a frame. There we go. Okay. Now we just match where that is. Okay, and now do we like the spacing of that? I would say yes. And now the last thing we want to do, well, there's a few things, but this, we want to get the border on the outside. Hi, it's saying to message, right, because that's a bit of a larger issue because you are the holder of the keys to the Discord, and so am I, and both of us lost our accounts. But that is kind of interesting. I guess there's no way to fix that other than what you're saying, like making a new one. But I don't think we need to make a whole new one yet. We can invite you to the existing one and see if there's anything we can do about restoring permissions or something. Oh wait, we have to... So now you will take this. Yeah, I think that's good. I would like for the black to not touch Achilles' foot. So let's move it a little bit. Maybe if we actually just made it a tiny bit smaller. It's not changing. So that means that our borders now are slightly thinner than the ones on top, but I don't think that's that big of a problem. A graphic designer would not approve, but a person making a piece of Greek pottery might not have a problem with it. So for you, Azur, who's currently in the book, all of the X-ray stuff is now implemented. I checked, so you might have to refresh the listing on your Kindle or device. But if you're using Kindle or your phone, then you can basically highlight, like if you highlight like son of Priam or Pleiades, or all these like nicknames for characters, it will then link that and it'll say like Achilles, or it'll say like, Hector or Paris or whatever. So I think that's a pretty cool feature. That's what we did on one of those streams. And we had done it earlier, but it wasn't like fully integrated. Now it's like in the book. Okay, so that's done in terms of the design part. Now we just have to make it look weathered. I guess I could just duplicate this. Yeah, good. Okay. Now we want to take this out of here. Or, I guess we could leave it in here. But we want to doesn't work. Okay, so I would have to duplicate and then merge this down. And then we will add this to this. Oh, we did it on the wrong layer. Okay. Now we're gonna do this. As you're saying, I have Kindle for PC, doesn't look like it has the X-ray function. Yeah, unfortunately that one doesn't, which I think is weird because the PC should obviously be able to handle it. I guess they just want people to buy the Kindles so they don't put it on the PC. I don't really know. Yeah, but I like using Kindle on PC as well because it's a nice big screen and, you know, it's like easy to read on it. But yeah, sorry, it's not on that one. Okay, so now we have the weathering, or like the texture rather, on that part. And now we want to add this little like splash of color thing into some of these sections. Yeah, we don't want the this kind of bleed effect to be too apparent, because we want the text to be as readable as possible, but we still want there to be an effect on it, like that it's not just like normal. So now that's good. Let's cut the text properly. So I just want to take this and we're just going to make like a slightly jagged or rather not cut the text, we cut the borders rather, so that it's not a perfectly straight line. I'm sure people who know how to use Photoshop have way better methods than this to do this effect, but whatever works, right? Good. Now, let me take a look at my artwork for the actual chapter. I'm just going to preview it on my Mac here. Jeez, what did I click on? Yeah, it seems pretty much the same. It's a little bit less weathered in our cover art, which I guess gives it a little bit more of like a graphic read, and that's good in the end. All right. Now we want to weather the text border and the other thing. And I think the best way to do that is going to be not to... Okay, so let's take this, duplicate it, because I have an idea. I don't know if it's a good idea. When in doubt, duplicate. So here's my idea. It is that we take this, nope, not this, this, not this, this, yeah, these two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't tell what this is. Oh, that's nothing. This and this. We're going to take all these orange elements, select. Oh, it doesn't let me. Okay, it still works. Do this. Put it all in a group. Just turn that off. Or rather, turn it on. Merge it. Turn it off. Select all the pixels. Now we are going to go to the black and cut this from the black, and then we do this. Okay, so it was a good idea, but now I'm realizing why we shouldn't do it. And the reason is, let's go back here. The reason is because we want to be able to customize how weathered the text gets versus the regular background. So we won't do that. Actually, before we do this, let's do a little bit of housekeeping here. We're gonna put this in here now. We're going to delete these. Oh wait, we don't want to delete those. We want to merge them. Okay. We're going to merge this with this. This gets deleted. Delete. Includes artwork. I think that's it. good. Delete these. Now we have this. And we'll do what we just did. Good. And we'll put some kind of texture on it. It's not really giving us the effect we want. Okay. Now, okay, good. Now we do the same thing with this. Oh wait, we didn't do it with this yet. I think we need to go into the black layer here. Whoa, is that not the right color? There you go. So you can see that these spots there was a space where there was no black filling it in, so the weathering effect didn't work. Oops. This is the wasted folder. Okay. Alright, so now we want to fine-tune the text. Or first we're going to do a slight thing to it. Basically this just fills in some of the hard gaps with translucency. That's for saying Greece is close to Italy. You still have family there? Maybe you can make a side trip. Yeah, I would really like to go to Italy, but yeah, it's a pretty short trip that I'm doing, so I wouldn't necessarily say that that's like feasible for this one, but I would love to go to Italy sometime. See all those Assassin's Creed buildings. As to family, no, I don't think I have any family there. My brother and I were just talking the other day about how you know, when you talk about like Italian heritage and stuff, like we never really even consider like Italy to be related to our family. It's more like a hey, what are you doing? Let's go get a spaghetti and meatball. Like that's the type of Italians that we are. That like we don't even think about that there's like an actual country where that is from. It's like, oh yeah, like Brooklyn. That's where my you know, ancestors were from. So you can see here that we're custom doing the weathering on each letter just so it has like a little bit of pieces being eaten away at the sides, but we don't want like there to be chunks taken out of the center of the letters and stuff like that. We still want the text to be totally legible, because this is an instance where it's like readability supersedes all aspects of like nice looking design. Like if a person can't read what the book title or the words on the book say, you know, it's not a very successful book title or book cover rather. So like on the characters, we're a little bit more lenient about like, oh yeah, just let this whole part look like totally faded. That kind of adds to the effect, but that type of principle does not work with text. As you're saying, so true. Yeah, it's always annoying when you see some like words or whatever, and it's like you're squinting and you're like, why can't I read that? You know, and it's like, is there something wrong with my eyes? And it's like, no, well, they just didn't make the text visible enough. Yeah, our book is hard enough to read once you open it and start reading the story. We'll make that. We'll make the book cover easy to read. I made another new thing for the book actually that'll be showing up. It has to get like approved by Amazon or something, but I made like a nice like infographic thing about the actual book and like the special features of the book that's going to show up on the store page. So it's got like 4 little pictures, you know, detailing like, you know, bonus features include, and then it's got like, you know, 14 chapter illustrations, and it's got a little description of that and a picture, and it's like, you know, enhanced x-ray, pronunciation guide, behind the scenes videos, and like there's a little thing showing like a description of the book, kind of like when you're on an Amazon page to buy like an item for your house, and there'll be like, when you scroll down past the description, there's that like section where they have those big pictures of stuff. Like that's what this will be. I think that's kind of cool looking, so I'm glad that I'm able to put that in for the Kindle book. The audiobook's got a weird process for it, because it's like, for some reason you can't use apostrophes in the description of the audiobook, because it's like shows up as like glitched out text. So you have to submit the book where the description has no apostrophes, and then you send Audible an email saying like, here's, you know, I own this book, I want the text to say this, and then they'll change it after the book is out on Audible. So it's like pretty weird, and I definitely don't like that idea, because I don't like the idea of it being out and like not looking correct. But it'll only be for a few days, I guess. So if anybody looks at the Audible store page and you see that it has no apostrophes, you'll know why. Yeah, and then the PDF, the artwork illustrator's notes are going to be included with the audiobook as well in an attached PDF that people get when they buy the audiobook. So I think that's nice that like everybody gets to experience the artwork and read the notes and see my influences and stuff, even if they're experiencing it in two different media, two different methods. Yeah, I think the easiest way to understand the story, like I guess my recommended way to read it, is to, for people who have the time or patience to do it, is to listen to the audiobook edition while reading the text. Because I think that makes it easier. Like sometimes the text is kind of hard to envision. You know, like when I first read it, it's kind of hard to envision what he means when he says certain things. It's written in very like classical English. And when you hear the narration, it's like, oh, okay, the meaning, you can kind of get the meaning of it by hearing the pronunciation of it. And I think that makes it easier to kind of get that. And then with the narration, sometimes, you know, if there's like something in the narration that doesn't, that you want to know more about, then you'll be able to see the names and look up the names and check who those people are and what their relationships are and stuff. And yeah, so like, because I've read the whole book, obviously, not only when I was, before I did it, but also then when I was editing the narration. And then at the end, you know, I always read through the whole thing while reading the book. And I was like, I think this is the best way to do it, probably. So yeah, that's my recommended method for anybody who's interested, is to like read and listen simultaneously. Yeah, this works, I think. As you're saying, we are learning so much about the ins and outs of Amazon books. I know, I never knew. I always thought X-Ray was auto-generated. I never thought that the author actually had to do that. And it is a whole process for doing that. So that was interesting. Yeah, how they get made. There's a whole weird thing in the behind the scenes of Audible where like you can't be a narrator and then publish your own book on the same account. So like the account that made the 3 Voice of Nick narrations that I've already published is actually, I had to make a new account in order to make this one. And it just is publishing this one book. So that was like a weird thing I wouldn't have expected. Yeah, I'm learning all sorts of stuff. It's pretty enlightening. As they're saying, I totally agree. It's a cool way to absorb the story. Yeah, it's nice too that what I think is, I'm glad you think that, and what I think is nice, I don't know anybody else who's made a book and had a behind the scenes set of videos that show the behind the scenes of making the book. But like what I kind of like about the behind the scenes is that they're previews essentially for anybody who hasn't bought the book yet, to be like, oh, okay, let me hear how he narrated it. Let me hear, and you can actually see what it's like to read it and narrate at the same time when watching those videos where we do the QA process and we're literally just reading and watching it. So like it's kind of a nice, we're technically giving away a large portion of the content of the book, but it's all out of order and stuff. And I figure if somebody really, you know, if somebody really likes it when they're getting that much of the book for free, then hopefully they'll support, you know, show their support and appreciation by buying it afterwards. But if not, you know, there's no way to stop. People are going to, you know, pirate books anyway. So I figure it's like better this way, you know, where we share our process and we don't really worry about like, oh, how much of this are we giving away to people for free? And yeah, hopefully the artwork stuff will help people to kind of like see the process of like, oh yeah, I was actually not even very good at the beginning of this. It's funny to look at the beginning parts where we were doing like the Penthesilea picture, this picture actually. The first parts of this picture, I had no idea how to do digital Photoshop art, and it showed. it was very rough, and we evolved as we went. Oh wait, this is not right. What is this? Oh, right, so for this, we want to do this. Okay. That's good, I guess. This doesn't look like it did anything. Oh yeah, it did. And for this, we'll do this. Oh, thanks, Cesar, for posting those links in there. We do have a lot of stuff going on. I'm probably going to start packing today for the trip, too. Just so I always like to do it a couple days before so that I don't scramble. Okay, so the narrated by... Where even is that? Is it in here? Oh no, it's this. Let's save this too. They're saying, talk about giving away stuff for free. That's the Twitch playbook. Yeah, I guess that's true. That's a lot of content. I think when you add up all the Twitch playbook episodes, it's like something like 18 hours if you combine it all as like an audiobook, which I kind of intended for it to, you know, feel like an audiobook where I put like chapters in it and stuff like that to give it that kind of style. So yeah, that Twitch playbook is technically the longest audiobook that I've made. Oh, as you're saying, you're caught up on Twitch playbook. You really liked 166. I don't remember which one is that. I'd have to know like what the title is or whatever. I'm glad that you're caught up though and that you like it. Thanks for listening. Yeah, it's like one of those things that just like I don't really have. I'm not doing it with like an ulterior motive or like a goal. Like, oh yeah, I want to do this until I can make it big enough to you know, turn it into a book or something or whatever. Like, you know, it's just like, oh yeah, I kind of just like writing this, and I'm gonna, you know, somehow I keep coming up with ideas every week, and as long as I keep coming up with ideas, I'm gonna keep doing it. No, you know, no more complicated than that, I guess. So yeah, free content. when I was writing the audiobook description, by the way, I put it in a little, you guys will see it once it's on the Audible store, but I put in a little thing about how, like, you know, actually I could read it out here. I had to toot my own horn a little bit. That's the weirdest part when you're writing like a store description, that you have to kind of like talk about your own thing positively, and it kind of feels weird. But I wrote, using complex and beautiful imagery, Arthur S. Way's classic translation deftly transports the reader back to ancient times, which is my way of kind of warning people, like, the language in this is very complicated. You know, like, I wanted to get something in there that sort of lets people know, you know what I mean? Because it can be a little bit daunting to just find out after you buy the book. I would hope that people don't like negatively review it, like, what, you know, I couldn't even understand this, and I bought this and I want my money back, you know, like, I figure it's like, I want to at least put something in there that's like, okay, well, here's what you're getting, type of thing. Because that's what I would want if I was buying it sight unseen. And of course we have the, you know, the preview on the store, which is hopefully useful to people who want an idea of what the language is like in it. Because, yeah, something I noticed about, you know, when I read all these translations of Iliad and Odyssey and whatever else, the reviews will be very contentious on both sides of the fence, where it's like, people will either say, like, I hated this translation of the Iliad because it's too colloquial, you know, they added too many phrases that make it sound like it's in modern English, like, it doesn't sound ancient to me, it kind of ruins the story. In the reviews, or it'll be somebody who says, you know, I really was upset I bought this, and it's like, I wish they updated it, it's too ancient sounding, you know, so people have both opinions. And I mentioned that in the introduction as well, where it's like, some people prefer to update the story, but like in ours, we did not do that. We kept it, you know, so it has like that classical feeling. Hopefully, you know, I just, being in that like world for a little bit of like me liking these kinds of stories and consuming a lot of this content, you know, I've been in the position as well where it's like, hopefully, you know, I'm able to being able to understand what somebody is going through in that situation of like, you'd want to know up front, you know, like, what is the type of translation that this one is. Hopefully that kind of answers it for people. Okay. Okay. Quintus Marnius, Voice of Nick, Arthur S. Way. The spacing looks good. Includes PDF, is good. Is there saying, okay, I'm calling it right now. One day you're going to actually write a book. Maybe nonfiction or maybe sci-fi or who knows. But I see all the ingredients coming together. Well, that's a pretty large undertaking, but hey, I appreciate you believing in me. And I would love to. It would be a great thing to do. Definitely a pretty exciting prospect if I was able to do that. Thanks for your belief in me as your... Let's see if we can get this a little bit darker maybe. Yeah, at least if I wrote a book, I would know how to go through the process of putting it up on the Amazon store, that's for sure. Yeah, there we go. We got a nice little bit of like texture that breaks up the colors on here. Yep. A very small touch, but it's the kind of thing that like when you look closely, it does make a difference. It's kind of like the weathering on these letters is very subtle, but it does make a difference. Great. think that's the cover, ladies and gents. I think we got an audiobook cover. I love that we made the characters smaller to fit properly within the frame without hitting the sides. I think we really did a lot of great work in recomposing the image so that the title is larger and that they simultaneously being smaller but more readable as figures. I love what we did with including the artwork PDF here, mostly because when somebody is on the Audible store, if it says the book is an illustrated edition and it's an audiobook, you need to have something in the cover that explains, like, how is that possible? This was a really clutch thing where we got the translator and narrator names in there right at the last minute. I wouldn't have even known. If I hadn't called Audible, my thing would have gotten denied. I wouldn't have even known. So that's great. I'm pretty proud of this cover. It's nice because it's so simple. We took out a lot of the elements. We took out the bottom where they're standing. If we go back to the other picture, this is one of my favorite pieces of artwork. I love it. But in terms of making it a book cover, taking out some of the interesting elements makes you focus more on specific things. So like these swirling patterns I think is great, but it didn't work in the cover, so we took it out. The borders, top and bottom, we took out. We changed all of the weathering in the background to sort of like fit the book cover specifically. And I think all of those changes, you can see that this one in like thumbnail form is a lot more readable than this from far away, because you don't really need to be able to read this from as far away or like see what's happening from far away, but with a book cover you do. So big text, characters are the focus. I think that works. And I don't mind, I thought it was going to be a problem for me that like they're floating in the middle, but I think that it's such a graphic read that it doesn't really need to have like an environment that they're in. It's just like they're two people in this, space. Great. I'm very proud of this. I'm really happy with it. Thanks everybody for being a part of these streams. I hesitate to say it because it's been going on for so long, but I think this is probably the last Posthomerica production episode. And if that's the case, then thank you so much to everybody who's been a part of these shows and watching them and, being interested in seeing me do this thing that's like pretty different from what I usually do on Twitch. Anybody who has bought the book or is watching these behind the scenes because they know about the book, thank you for checking it out. Whether or not you buy the book itself, I hope you enjoyed seeing this process of like how a book gets created, or at least how I create one. I don't know if not necessarily everybody does it this way, but I really enjoyed doing this, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. If anybody does want to buy the book for themselves, it's available in two formats. First, there is a digital illustrated edition that I created of the story in text form. So that is available now as of this video's creation on Amazon. If you search for Posthomerica, The Fall of Troy, it has a book cover that looks like this over here with Neoptolemus and Priam. If you look for this book cover, Posthomerica, The Fall of Troy, that is what you're looking for. It's an illustrated edition with a bunch of special features attached to it. The second version that's available is the audiobook, which I narrated myself. That one has a book cover that looks like the one we were just making in this episode. So same name, Posthomerica, The Fall of Troy, on Audible. You can find them both in stores soon. The illustrated edition's out now on Amazon. Audible edition will be coming in the next couple weeks based on when the audiobook gets approved by Amazon. So keep your eyes out for that, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of these episodes, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think of of all of our hard work. Bye bye.